The agenda frames, I don't set them in stone, but we will get some examples for you on the screen and also on the website. But what we're trying to think of is, what are the meetings for? You know, they're having people just coming in with an agenda and sitting down for an unstructured day, or even structured day, may not be appropriate to all meetings all the time. And I have a particular dislike of meetings which don't have start and finish times that you keep to. You know, having target times for meeting length. Because one of the things we all know, I think, or should know, is that if we set a particular period of time for a conclusion of business, it tends to happen in that time frame. Whether it's 2 hours, 2.5 hours, or 3 hours, or 3.5 hours, we still manage to get that done. It's very rare that we would change or shorten a meeting length and not get to the solution. We just manage things slightly differently, provided it's all open and overt and everyone has bought into that. And I've proven this in my own work. Some years ago I started running meetings totally contrary to the organisation, which was open-ended meetings, usually of 2.5, 3.5 hours, always starting on the hour, and my meeting started at the 1:45 or the 1:15, and then later moved on to the 10 past and 10 twos and 20 past and 22 meetings with budgets of 20 minutes or 35 minutes or whatever it was, so that people would arrive on time, get into the business, we'd know what the time frame was, and by the time I left about 3 and a bit years later, not everybody, and quite a lot of managers were running their meetings on very much the same basis. Really to concentrate the minds of people. And that does mean that you have to be there. I mean, I can think of one chief exec who's now been sacked, who, amongst a number of awkward and difficult traits he had as a leader, in spite of all his skills and ability, used to arrive at meetings very late. Meetings never had finishing times, so that, and a very sales organisation, he was a salesperson, a whole bunch of the most senior salespeople in the business would be all in a large room, and people trying to get hold of them, customers trying to get hold of them, and people in the office not being able to say to customers and stakeholders, oh, such and such, yes, they're due out at 10:15, or they're due out at 10:30, I'll give you a call shortly after that. Couldn't do it. So this individual, apart from anything else, was always late for meetings. Not good. So one of the things that is important, if you're going to have meetings, agenda frames as I call them, then just make sure you're there in time as well. Show the commitment. So what are agenda frames and why have them different? Well, this does relate, as I say, to those mindsets for the different types of solution. Some meetings just is a sharing. It's a simple sharing of information. A lot of that, of course, is done electronically these days. Sometimes we do want to have the minimal amount of discussion, but just to make sure we're on the same page, just to touch the flesh, make contact with people, check that everyone's on board, got the motivation, concentrated and focused. And those meetings might be very short, might be 15 or 20 minutes, and I call those show and tell. So there's a mainly sharing about where you've got to, very quick and it's brief, and then you all move off again. Another type of agenda frame, which I might call performance and priorities, tend to be a bit longer. Performance and priorities might be for something like a sales strategy meeting. So you've got a strategy which is already rolling out, you want to touch base, see where you're going, you might want to modify and change some of the marketing arrangements, some of the propositions, some of the upsells, the downsells, you might want to think about those and structure those things, so you may need some input and discussion. Then I want to got another level which I call, and again I'm not saying you should have these in this way, you may have different terms for them and different needs in your organisation for maybe 2 or 3 or 4 different types of meetings. The next one is participate and develop, and the type of participate and develop agenda frames tend to be a bit longer. We're looking for much more input, we're looking for dialogue, we're looking for more expansive sort of discussions, but probably we're in the solution B type arena at this stage. So we know we can go through the business, we're using a lot of skills and experience, we might be looking for a bit of innovation here and there, some thoughts, some dragging in, maybe pausing, and maybe another meeting and a week later when people have done some research they'll come back and so forth to move things on. The Last one is what I call blue sky, and this relates absolutely to that type C solution, the deep thought solutions here. It's the sort of what next, what are we doing next type meeting. And this probably isn't one meeting, it's probably several meetings, but we will for sure look to get that external facilitator, whether it's from another division, whatever it is, in to manage that. And we'll be looking to leave the spaces for self-reflection as a structure so that people all know that they're going to have breaks of 10 or 15 minutes for quiet reflection, to come back and then move the meeting on. Maybe having gaps of time. I know it's very difficult sometimes if you've got people coming from a number of countries flying into a particular city for a particular meeting. You've got 30, 40 people in a room. You may not be able to manage that on an ongoing basis, but at least with webinars and so forth, it's possible to use technology to move things on, even though we can't get together. But the important thing is the self-reflective space, that we're leaving enough time for people to mix and engage together as well, before, during and after, and that we have these structured gaps for self-reflection. So that's agenda frames in a nutshell. And all of the thinking from today's video comes from self-coaching leadership.